Welcome back to the Test Kitchen. This week, it's our last week and we're very sad, and so in order to make ourselves feel better, we're going to talk about desserts because that's a nice way to end a special meal. So right now I'm going to make for you a 3-berry crisp. And this is another one of those great recipes that's very versatile. So I'll tell you what I'm doing here and substitutions you can make in your own kitchen. So let's start by reviewing the ingredients. First, we have 3 kinds of berries. Right now, we've got a lot of beautiful blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries available here in Seattle. If it's winter time, you're welcome to use frozen berries. They work really well in a crisp. Or any other fruit that you can get in your area that cooks well. So apples make a delicious crisp. Rhubarb and strawberry is another really favorite one around here. So do what you can do with the fruit you have available. But today we're doing 3 berries. So here they are. And then we're going to put a little brown sugar in there. And these berries are very sweet. So I'm actually not even going to use this much because they don't need it. If your berries are a little sour or it's just not been a great season for it, you might put a little more sugar or other sweetener. A little bit of flour, that's going to help thicken up the juice so you don't end up with a big juicy mess. And a little lemon juice, that's the acid that's going to brighten the flavor. Okay, so those are the basic crisp ingredients for the inside, but on top we're going to put a really delicious crispy topping, hence the name crisp. So here for the crisp, we've actually made some homemade granola, and we're going to put the recipe in the class for you. Really delicious, it has lots of nuts and seeds, and they're very healthy, lots of great stuff in there, and tastes delicious too. And a little bit of flour. A little bit of butter. So if you don't use butter, you're welcome to use coconut oil or another fat, but this is dessert, so I'm just going to put in a scant 2 tablespoons of butter. Cinnamon is a really good and key ingredient in most crisps. And some more sugar. And I chose some really dark brown sugar because it has more flavor by itself than light brown sugar or white sugar. So you can use less because there's more flavor. All right, so let's get cooking. First, we're going to make the filling. So we said we had the berries, and we're just going to go ahead, and we've washed them. That's always a key point. Make sure you wash them really well. Drain them because you don't want a lot of extra water in there. And then you're just going to add these ingredients. So I'm going to put a little bit of sugar. I'm not putting a lot though, because as I said, these berries are pretty sweet. And we're going to sprinkle the flour and just drizzle the lemon juice on top. And then you just really carefully want to fold them and turn them because you don't want to injure them because those are pretty delicate. So we're just going to scoop and swirl and mix them up. So every bite should have a blackberry, a raspberry, and a blueberry. That would be the perfect bite. All right, so those are nicely coated in the juice and the flour, and the sugar is distributed. And so now we can go ahead and put that in our cooking pan. And I just have a regular old 8x8 pan. You can use metal, glass, whatever, it all works. And then you're just going to scoop the berries into the pan. Here we go. Get all that good juice because that's all that lemon juice that we put in there. Okay. And we'll spread them out, make them nice even layer. And now they're ready for the topping. So the topping is a little more work than the filling, but is well worth it. Let's put this aside. So for the topping, we said we had this butter. It's really cold. I chopped it up and put it back in the fridge so that it stays nice and hard, because when the butter melts in the oven, it creates a little puff of gas that makes the crisp puffy. And so you want nice and cold butter. So we're going to take all the other ingredients except the butter. So we're going to put the homemade granola, the brown sugar, and the flour, and of course the cinnamon, most important flavor ingredient. And we're going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a mix. Try and get everything evenly distributed. All right, and when I feel like that's pretty well mixed, if you can see everything's sort of even tone of white from the flour, now it's time to cut in the butter. And I'll be honest, I usually make my son do this because I'm really not very good at it and I don't have the patience to do a good job, but I'm gonna do my best. So here's the butter, already chunked up and as cold as it can be. And then I have a pastry blender, that's what this is called. You may also use 2 knives. Some people use forks, kind of whatever you have on hand, whatever works well for you. And then you just kind of cut and you cut and you cut and you're trying to get that butter mixed in, but you want it to stay a little bit lumpy. I mean, ideally they're all perfectly formed pea-sized bits, and it's a little tricky when you have the granola in there because the granola, it's got a lot of nuts and lumps, and so it's not like just mixing all this into flour and sugar. So it's even harder than usual, but it's still worth it. All right, let's see if we can do a better job here. So if the butter is giving you a bit of a trouble, like it's sticking for me a lot, it's because it got too warm in the lights in this room. You can always put the whole mixture back in the fridge. For a few minutes, the butter will firm up and then it'll be easier to cut with whatever you're using to cut it up. Okay, so that is crumbled enough. And so you can see the butter is in smaller pieces. There's flour coating it and the sweet sugar and the cinnamon. So we've got the spices nicely spread out in there. And so now what we do is we just dump it on the berries and spread it around. All right, and so you want to make sure you spread it around because you want every bite to have a little bit of everything in it. Like that. All right, this is now ready for the oven. It's going to cook at about 350 for about 20, 30, 40 minutes. It depends on the type of fruit you have in there. If it was apples, if they were cut medium size, you're going to have to cook it a little bit longer. These are berries, they cook really fast. So we're going to just keep an eye on it. As soon as it starts to bubble and starts to smell delicious and starts to brown a little bit, it's ready. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the oven. All right, we've taken it out of the oven. It looks fantastic. It was bubbling and delicious. So now it's time to serve it up. So let's take a nice serving out of here. And I wish you guys could smell it in here. It smells so good. Oh, and I smell raspberries and I smell blackberries. Go ahead and put another scoop in there. And then you can top it with whatever you want. Today I chose to get some vanilla non-fat yogurt. And it's just a nice touch. You could use ice cream, of course, or whipped cream, but it's a little bit healthier and it tastes fantastic. So here we have 3 Berry Crisp.